As always, you can use pause if you want to read the notes in the notepad on the right hand side. This is the third video in the series of trying to get Organiser Pocket Spreadsheet files from an organiser to a laptop or PC. One of the issues is that when you get the file onto the PC, you can't now open it in Microsoft Excel. The WKS files have been outlawed by Microsoft, so you can't open them. So what we need to do is we need to try and look at using DOSBox to launch Lotus 123. Before we actually get DOSBox installed, we need to do a little bit of preparation work. You need to create yourself a directory close to the root drive. I've called mine working, and it's close to drive C. When you've got your working directory, you're going to put everything into the close to the root drive, because these DOS files don't particularly like long file names or file names with spaces in. Then you need to configure the DOSBox configuration file. You need to work out the screen and set output to direct draw. Information there is on the screen. You need to also set up the serial connection to point to the right USB port. If you remember, PSI2Win has an option to identify which serial port is actually being used. So I can use that to figure out that on my particular computer I'm using COM port 4. Yours might be something different. So I'm going to scroll down till I find the serial section of the DOSBox config file, and then I'm going to set there it is, the serial section. I'm going to set serial 1 to direct serial real port COM 4. It's scrolled over 2 lines on my notepad file here, but it is all actually on 1 line. I'm nearly finished. All I need to do now is to set up my keyboard to be a UK keyboard, and I need to mount the C drive so that our DOSBox is looking into this working directory that we've just set up, ready to receive all the files. That goes at the end of the DOSBox config file. When you've got all that going, it should be possible now to launch DOSBox. So we'll give it a try, and we'll have a look at trying to see if we can't use some of the original PSION DOS software. For instance, PSION released a developer. There's details of this on the website, and you can use the developer for writing and developing and debugging programs. I've got one here called Test App. We'll edit that, and you'll see the OLP code there appears in the screen editor. We can translate it into machine code, and we can run it on and develop it on the system. Turn it off, turn it back on again, and that's just a menu system that I use for apps and the likes. So you can mess with that at your leisure. I'm going to quit that now. You could, of course, have a look at some of the other PSION software. PSION released a PC software game called Chess. No, not double dot, just change directory Chess. So we can call the Chess program, and it appears, there it is. It appears in 2D or in 3D, and you just point to the piece you want to move, point to where you want it to go to, point to the piece you want to move, point to where you want it to go to. And apparently it's quite a strong game. I'm not a great chess player, but others might like it. So for now I'm going to quit out of that. You can look at those at your leisure. PSION at the time, they also launched an office suite called PC4. Later became called Exchange, where they were more integrated together. All these files here in the PC4 directory all relate to that PC4 software. It had a spreadsheet. They all had a common interface, which was quite interesting. The F2 got rid of the prompt on the top of the screen. F3 brought up all your commands. Got one here called Group. PSION were very good at the time for making best use of the colours that were available: the red, the green, the blue and the yellow, the black and the white. Some of the other software that you'll see, we didn't make as good a use of the colours. So there was a spreadsheet, a word processor, a business graphics package, and a database. Abacus, Quill, Easel, and Archive. I think that's what they were called. And and this is the spreadsheet working here. Again, you can look at these at your leisure. They're all available for download off the internet. Quits that. The main thing we want this DOSBox for at this stage is we want to see if we can get Lotus 123 working, so that we can see about transferring the files from the organizer and editing them in 123. And there you go, 123 working in a DOSBox. I'll quit this for now, and I'll come back to it in a second. First we need to get the files across. To bring the files across, I could use CL.EXE which we've seen, or I could use the original ComsLink server program, CL.EXE, which will try in a minute to try and bring some files across. You'll see it actually works a bit better than CL.2Win in certain situations. So, what do I want to do? Well, first we want to try and bring some files across. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll print a spreadsheet from the PSION Organiser. So we'll launch CL.2Win and we'll go into Setup, and we'll set it up to accept a PDF printer driver as the printer. You could choose any printer you've got on your system, and we'll turn it into print mode. And then when I send print on my organizer, there it goes, and you'll see the bytes changing as it receives each character and line feed, and when it gets to the end of the file, it'll wait for a second, waiting for a phone feed, or in this case for a timeout. And when it gets the timeout, it'll then, because it's a PDF printer, it'll launch the save dialog box for PDF to save the file name. I'm going to call all the files in this case test and something, because I'll be able to identify them when I want to delete them later. And there you go, we've got a printout of the Pocket Spreadsheet from the organizer onto the PC quite successfully. The other files that we could do is we want to back up the file. So I'm going to turn off print mode, turn it back into normal mode, set up all the default options in the CL.2Win, and I'm going to send across a file, and I think it was called test plan. And we'll send that across from the PC. Now, to send it, I need to use a software piece of program that I've wrote. I've adapted Sendall, which is in the user manual, which you'll find if you download and read the user manual. And I've modified that so I can send the file from the organizer, any type of file, an OPL, a diary file, a plan file, a pager file, although we haven't got any pages, notepad files. I can send those across. And when I send it now, you'll see it came across, and there it is, test plan. It's an organizer binary file type 5, and if I try and open that with the notepad, notepad will select that. You'll see that you can't read it. It's a binary file. You can see some of the characters from the spreadsheet are in the file, but that's a backup binary file, and you could actually send that back to the organizer, and the organizer will read all that binary information. The other types of files that are offered when you connect your organizer to your CL.2Win or to the ComsLink, you get kind of different versions. CL.2Win offers you works, diffs, comma separated values, and the ComsLink says you a different setup. If we look at the different comma separated value files that we send across, this is with CL.2Win set to accept comma separated valued files. I'll just make it a bit bigger so we can read it, and you'll see that that's exactly what it is. All the text is everything's enclosed in quotes, and they are separated by commas, and a spreadsheet would read that and would put each of those values as a text, not as a number, but as a text into a spreadsheet. If we sent across a text file, then you will just get text separated with tabs, and you could cut and paste that into a spreadsheet or a table in the word processor. If you look at a diff file, that's slightly different. They've got some control characters, V there, bot. Don't understand those. But if you try and put that into a spreadsheet, it accepts it as a load of text files. But one thing that has happened in all those situations is we haven't managed to oops, just not the microphone. What we haven't managed to do is to get across a file that we can actually read the formulas in. So to do that, we need either a worksheet, a WKS, a WK1, or a WR1 type file. And to get those across, we need to use the original CommsLink software, CL.EXE, and we need to run that in DOSBox. So I've sent one across using Sci2Win. I've called it test P2W, test Sci2Win. And when that's gone across and loaded, which it has done now, we'll launch DOSBox, and we'll send another one across called test CommsLink, test CL, which will and then we'll be able to confer the two in Lotus 1, 2, 3 to see if they actually both come across successfully. And I think you'll find they don't. So I've launched DOSBox, I've launched CommsLink. When you send the file from the organizer using the original CL.EXE CommsLink server, you'll see it will run a piece of software called Plan. You'll see that in the file list if you look in the working directory. And that Plan server is taking the information from the organizer, converting it into Lotus 1, 2, 3 file format, and then we can utilize them. So if we look in my working directory here, you'll see test sent across with CommsLink and test sent across P2W sent across with Sci2Win. I'm going to put both of those files into the Lotus 1, 2, 3 file directory, and then I'm going to change it into that directory with my DOSBox, change directory Lotus 1, 2, 3, and then I'll call 1, 2, 3 Lotus 1, 2, 3, and there we go, we've got it running. If I do file, retrieve, there are the two files. We'll look at the Sci2Win one first. Looks like it's accepted the file, but actually, if I look carefully, those characters are supposed to be, those values are supposed to be rounded to 3 decimal places. And the formulas look to be imported across, but they haven't calculated correctly. You would have expected them to have been calculated. So let's have a look at the one that was sent across using CommsLink service CL.EXE. And there it is, test CommsLink, and there you see these are rounded to 3 decimal places, and the formulas are brought across and it's calculated them correctly, and all the checks are working. So the conclusion is, if you want to transfer files successfully with the formulas intact from PSION Organiser to a Windows PC, laptop or tablet, we need to use CL.EXE in DOSBox. All the files are available in the website. All the manuals are there. CommsLink developer and spreadsheet manuals are all there for you to read and browse at your leisure. That's about it from this end. So good luck. Let me know how you get on. And if you've managed to sit through this,